We can go ahead and get started. I want to make sure that we leave room for questions and conversation. This is meant to be interactive. Yes, there's a lot of information that we go through with these meetings, of course, but we want to make sure that we're answering questions from the community as well, because of course there are questions. Everybody has questions. We have questions, but to the extent that we can answer them, of course, we'd love to be able to do that here with you all. So let me go ahead and start by, of course, welcoming you all to our monthly community update call. And again, thank you for your continued presence and commitment to attending these conversations. It seems like just yesterday that we were meeting and functionally really speculating about what may come with the new administration. And now we know, right? And as challenging as the time as we're experiencing, it is better that we know the tactics that are being taken and how that lets us kind of predict and view about how these things might impact our work, and that's better than not knowing. And while it is disheartening to see these attacks on refugees and immigrants take place, I don't think that any of us can say that it was unexpected. I don't need to tell this room how critical the work of refugee resettlement and in general immigrant services are, and how much is at stake right now for the people that we serve and the organizations that serve these folks in our community. Each of you, whether you lead an organization or provide direct services yourself or advocate for policies that support immigrants, or whether you just support resettlement in any other way, you all understand the impact of these programs that we're offering and many in this region offer, and the positive impact they have on the lives that use these services. And that's really why this moment is so difficult, and also why we have to be clear-eyed about the challenges that are ahead. And so for anybody who's sort of unaware or hasn't heard this message, I want to be clear. On January 24th, the administration issued a stop work order on reception and placement programming, our RMP program, otherwise known as the Resettlement program. And that was coming from the State Department, not a part of the larger OMB freeze that took place. But the immediate effect of that was that work could not be billed to that program, and costs associated with supporting newly arrived refugees had to be covered by non-federal resources, and we could not spend any more federal funding directly on those that we resettled. And when you're an organization that's 80% funded by federal funds, non-federal funds are hard to find and allocate to the use of our resettlement team to be able to continue these services. And so, what is the deeper effect of that stop work order? Is that this system that has been built to support newly arrived refugees, a system that helps ensure that they have a place to sleep, food on the table, medical assistance, and basic needs taken care of, this has been thrown into limbo. Right? Families who arrived just days prior to the order are now at a loss for these supports and critical elements that really help build this foundation of resettlement. And the loss of all this is why we have launched our Keeping Our Promise campaign. The intent is to help fulfill the commitment that this country has made to these new arrivals. Whether or not the federal government intends to fulfill its promise, we believe that the people of this community, the people of St. Louis and this region, stand with these new arrivals and have a desire to see them supported. And if the attack to the resettlement system is all that we were contending with, it would have been enough. If only that were the case, right? But all federal funding requests for payment, even programs that are already approved by Congress, are now under review. And we don't know yet the full scope of what's at risk, but the uncertainty extends beyond resettlement to the rest of federally funded programs that provide job training, citizenship preparation, English language education, intensive case management, access to employment, right? These very tools that allow newcomers to rebuild their lives and go from arriving to thriving. And as a direct result of the uncertainty, the International Institute has had to make, I think, one of the hardest decisions in the history of our organization. And as of February 1st, we implemented furloughs, which affected nearly 60% of our staff, not just here in St. Louis, but across the state. Here specifically, our staff went from 115 individuals to 60. This is not a step any of us wanted to take, right? But it's a step that we had to take to preserve the organization's ability to continue to serve our community now and in the medium term. I know many of you are with organizations that are facing similar challenges, and some of you have had to similarly cut back programs or cut back services for those that you serve. And so that the heartbreak that occurs when we have to forced into those sort of decisions. And others are bracing for tough decisions that might lie ahead. And all of us are contending with the reality that what we assumed was stable, right? Federally funded, legally approved, mission critical work, all that's now in question. But if there's something that I know about the people and organizations represented on this call, it's that we're not passive in the face of uncertainty. We adapt, we advocate, we find solutions. We refuse to let shifting political tides erase our commitment to those that we serve. And that's what today is about, right? We don't have all the answers yet, but we do have each other in this community. And this is a space that's meant to share information, find ways to move forward together in partnership. Because while this moment that we're all facing is daunting, we're not new to this challenge. The work we do has never been easy, and yet we continue, not just because we must or contractually obligated to, but because we know what's at stake if we don't. So let's focus on what we can do. Let's talk about how we can keep services running and how we can mobilize community support, and how we can push for the funding and policies that uphold our mission and the values of our community. Because while the future is uncertain, our commitment to service is not. So again, I want to thank you all for being a part of this call today. And I'll ask that Casey share with us our slides for today's presentation. And I'm thankful to all of you for your support in being here. Casey, are you able to bring up the slides? There we are. We'll head right into our updates. And for this, I'll turn over. I don't know if Paul is on the call. There he is. Hi, Paul.
I am. Hi, everybody. Thank you for attending today. It looks like a big crowd. Obviously, there are a lot of questions, and a lot of people are looking for answers and for stability and things like that. So just want to say that we're doing the best we can to maintain our programming and to support the agencies around the state that we serve. And so like Blake said, our commitment to that is non-negotiable. So we're going full speed ahead. Just some things on our slide deck here, that there are nearly 30,000 arrivals in the US. That includes private sponsorship, that includes resettlement, the SIVs, the whole lot. So it was a very busy first quarter for agencies around the country through the mid part of January, and that includes about 1,225 in Missouri. I say about because the ability to get data from our federal sources has been compromised, and the willingness of our federal partners to give us the information that they had normally been giving us is also compromised. So we're doing the best we can with some data that's a little bit incomplete. For our vendors, you could see that we have 7 resettlement agencies across the state, 8 additional refugee service partners in various parts of the state that we fund through our ORR programming. That's Office of Refugee Resettlement. And then more than 40 school districts across the state that we fund through our Refugee School Impact Program. We were able to provide reimbursements for December for their expenses. And we're getting in their expense reports for January right now. And we will attempt to draw down the funds that have been allocated to the state to provide those services. And we will see what happens. There is a lot of uncertainty in this federal payment program, as you've probably seen on news reports and things like that. We've been informed that our ORR funding, or generally ORR funding across the country, is not frozen or canceled, that those funds still remain available to us. Some states, Texas, for example, and some other states have had difficulty in accessing those funds. And that's why we were delayed in providing reimbursements to some of our partners for their December expenses. We've seen some layoffs and termination across the state due to the freeze on the resettlement side, that first 90 days that Blake mentioned at the beginning. And that is going to be an impact down the road. I know the federal government is going to do a 90-day evaluation of the resettlement program, but the 90 days just started ticking just 2 or 3 weeks ago. So there's still some time that we're going to have to endure without actual refugee arrivals and reimbursements from those that have already come. There is some, when the order came down from the administration to stop refugee arrivals, it did not include SIVs. Those are special immigrant visa holders, predominantly from Afghanistan, but also from Iraq, who would be able to come still through a self-payment program, so they would not get any assistance in their travel coming to the United States. And of course, because there is no R&P resettlement program currently, that they would not be eligible for that initial 90-day assistance and resettlement. But there are other programs that they would be eligible for, that MO-ORA funds and ORR funds through their national agencies. So there's a possibility that we could still see some SIV arrivals, which would be a really great thing. MO-ORA has a quarterly meeting that we hold every quarter in Fulton, and we are going to make that March meeting a virtual meeting due to the current situation and inability of agencies to send staff to Fulton, but we'll still have a very vibrant quarterly meeting, and we will discuss the date, because with the federal continuing resolution, the budget situation that the United States is in, that continuing resolution goes until March 14th. So we probably will have it somewhere around that date. So we might get some more clarity on the availability of ORR funds that help all of our statewide partners provide the services that they provide. So That is all I have for my slide. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate the statewide perspective. With that, we will dig into more resettlement numbers with Esmira.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Blake says, in this challenging time, even we don't have any new arrivals, we are doing our best to serve our clients who came last 3 months. So RMP service needs to be provided even without support. So for in November 24, we did have 19 cases of 92 individuals, mostly people coming from Afghanistan, South Sudan, Somalia, Burma, Nicaragua, Venezuela. In December, we did have 39 cases, 169 individuals. December was the highest month of refugee arrivals. In January, even we receive refugees only until January 20th. We did have 120 individuals, 38 cases, mostly people from Venezuela, South Sudan, Somalia, Syria, and Afghanistan. Recently, we didn't see any SIV cases that came to our office. All those cases that has been scheduled to arrive in February, March has been postponed. So we don't know what will happen in near future. Regarding fiscal year 24, we did have total arrivals of 1,387. That was the highest number since of refugee that we resettle since Institute exists. We did plan this year to resettle 1,920 people, including 100 SIV and 1,820 refugees. For now, we did resettle around 530 people, and we will wait and see what will happen in near future.
Thank you, Esmira. Just to sort of underscore the need and shouting out back to our Keeping Our Promise campaign, I want to share this sort of chart of expenditures, and I should preface this by saying this is a combination for arrivals here in St. Louis predominantly, with some of our Springfield arrivals also included. And we can see sort of these arrivals. RMP is resettlement, IRMA are Afghan cases, but what you see is sort of the client assistance associated with each arrival. You see the expenditures to date on those cases. And then you see sort of that amount that we're saying owed, though I should put owed in quotation marks. This is the amount of federal funding that should be obligated to each of these arrivals as they arrive. So we take the total minimum assistance minus the expenditures, and that's how we get to that number owed. And you see for those folks that have arrived over the last 3 months, there's still an outstanding balance of $288,000, which would go fundamentally to help with groceries, utility payments, and rental assistance for those folks that are here over that period of time. And that's what we're asking the community in part to help with. This, of course, does not include the staffing assistance available to support folks with access to healthcare or enrolling in school. And that is the balance of what we're asking the community to assist with as well. And you see sort of there's a timing need for all of these things. Those cases in November are exiting this period here in February, and then beyond that, those cases in December will be exiting in March and January and April, and so on and so forth. So these are sort of our deadlines for fundraising for being able to keep our promise. I want to make sure that I was sharing this with you all. We'll go on to our next update, which is from Jonathan, to tell us a little bit more about walk-ins. Jonathan.
Of course. Good morning. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So my name is Jonathan. I'm an intake coordinator here at the International Institute. I'm going to talk to you briefly about some of the walk-ins we've had in the year 2024, or from November 2024 to February 2025. Now, walk-ins are clients that are receiving services from the International Institute that were not sponsored by the International Institute as a refugee. So these are individuals such as Cubans and Haitians who came in as humanitarian parolees, or individuals that came in through a different resettlement agency that are now seeking services here in St. Louis with the International Institute. Uh, or clients that haven't received or are refugees but have not received any services from anywhere yet. So these are clients that come into the building with usually very little information on what is next or like what to do at this point. And this is where like individuals like me, an intake coordinator, it's our job to do our initial intake, review documents, see which program we can put them into. Now in November 2024. We had a couple Ukrainian cases. We had 5 Cubans, 8 Haitians, and then 12 Afghans and 11 Syrians. Now, a lot of those Afghans and Syrians came through Welcome Corps, and then come through us for mostly like workforce programs to help them find a job as well as more direct cash assistance. So we had 13 cases of walk-ins and 38 total individuals with an average case size of 2.6. That November was a very busy month for our department in intake and benefits because of the substantial number of cases walk-in cases we had, in addition to the RNP numbers that you saw with the SMIRA. December, we had 3 Congolese individuals, 3 Tanzanian individuals, 2 Venezuelan clients, 1 Somali client, 5 Cubans, and 6 Haitians, with 14 cases and 20 individuals, with an average case size of 1.4. Especially with these walk-in cases, you're going to notice that the average case size is pretty low. A lot of times what happens is that they come to here at the International Institute alone, or they move from a different place. They went away from family in another place, anything like that. But that's why walk-ins are typically have a significantly less case size than RNP, like direct refugees sponsored by us. In January, we had 9 Afghans, 4 Syrians, 2 Ethiopians, and 14 Cubans, and 1 Haitian. And this is what I mentioned previously about a lot of the walk-in cases being single cases. Unless I'm mistaken, all of those Cuban cases are single individuals, cases of 1. So then you had 15 cases total in January, 30 individuals, and an average case size of 2. So despite the sheer number of individuals, you'll notice that the average case size is pretty small in that case. February 2025, obviously, we're not even halfway through February, and we're still adjusting a lot right now. So we've only had 1 Afghan and 1 Cuban at the moment, though I can tell you that next week I am pretty well scheduled for a lot of Cubans and Haitians coming up in the next week. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Very much appreciated.
No problem.
Next, we'll move on to Latino outreach. I believe Carlos has joined us for the call.
Sorry. All right. Hello, everybody. Just wanted to share, previously we had not shared our final 2025 numbers. We ended up having a total of 542 people that come from a variety of countries, even though originally it was humanitarian parolee for Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela. But we had Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela, Colombia, Honduras, Mexico, Ecuador, Chile, Brazil, Peru, and Guatemala were the countries that ended up coming through our program. We filed more than 90 plus authorization documents, that being because the majority of the people that we brought already had their work permits, so we didn't have to get that for them. So given the climate right now, we are actually switching our focus in 2025, as I had mentioned before. I visited San Diego in January because essentially we're trying to recruit Hispanic Americans, Hispanic that are resident alien status, and those that have green cards. And so I figured out what are the highest unemployed cities with the highest Hispanic population. And so I will be visiting those cities. And the common theme you'll see here is that a lot of them are in California. So last December, I went to El Centro, California. January, I visited San Diego. On Monday, I go to McAllen, Texas. And then a week later, I go to Los Angeles and Long Beach, California. In March, I will likely go to Tucson, Arizona, and El Paso, Texas. Just updated that yesterday. And then in April, I plan to go to Chicago and Corpus Christi, Texas. And again, high Hispanic population, high unemployment rate, to try to recruit them to move here. And then another trip that I'll be likely doing in March is the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce has a legislative summit. So all of the major metropolitan Hispanic chambers will be at that event. So I will be going there to try to get them to see what we're trying to do here in St. Louis to recruit more people. And many of these Hispanic chambers realize that our population may be suffering in those cities. So I'm hoping with my past connections to the Hispanic chambers that we'll be able to recruit some people. And that is my update for the Latino outreach. And Casey, there you go. And so I will also give the update for the Afghan support program. And so we've started our Threads of Hope program. This is our second cohort. And in addition to this second cohort of teaching Afghan women how to sew and potentially start their own business, we've also had some women that have gone through the first course and some women that already knew the basics of sewing. So we've added an advanced sewing course, which has also begun. And these courses include financial literacy classes so that they understand how that's important to starting a business. And we certainly didn't want them to feel like they couldn't come to the class because they had small children. So we actually also have daycare available with some certified daycare providers that will be at the Afghan Chamber. We will also continue with our Afghan grant program for entrepreneurs. But we've actually upped the grant, and historically it started at 15,000. Now we've upped it to 20,000, and there will be 10 grants at 20,000. Pitch day will be February 21st. So we've been accepting applications already. And then the winter ceremony will take place March 14th. Yesterday, we actually went to UMSL's campus through a history department program, and we were able to show our movie Gateway to a New Life that talks about the struggle and actually has some testimonials of people, Afghan clients that have come to St. Louis. And I saw the movie for the first time yesterday, and I was much more moved than I anticipated to be. So if you get an opportunity to see this movie, please do so. It was quite impressive. And for this year also, some of the new initiatives that we are likely going to implement, and it's going to be a Afghan New Year celebration March 24th. We would like to implement a Quran class for kids and also a story time for kids in the Dari language. So those are a couple of the programs that we're planning. There will be additional programs planned, but that's just the initial plans that we have right now. We are also in the process of interviewing for hiring a new manager for Afghan outreach. And so we're pretty close to the end, and hopefully we'll have somebody in place within this month, hopefully. And that is it for both the Latino outreach and the Afghan support programs.
Thank you so much, Carlos. There's always a lot going on with these programs, and we're staying very busy. And of course, there's a lot of folks responding to this call, so very appreciative of your work. With that, I do want to introduce David Gonzalez and Kelly Moore, who will be telling us a little bit more about ways to get connected. So, David.
Yeah, thanks, Blake. As you can see on the slide, we have 4 main ways for folks to get involved. I'll leave a couple to Kelly, but just to give folks an idea of, our efforts in terms of monetary donations, and Blake explained very well the needs as well as the budget shortfalls. So about 2 weeks ago, we had launched our Keeping Our Promise campaign online, and have received overwhelming support from the community. So that has been something that we greatly appreciate. Had nearly 500 individual donors come through and support our programs and services. Additionally, we are talking to individuals about ways that they can support beyond the campaign, personal gifts, corporate gifts. As you can see here on this slide and the previous slide, you can go to our website or click on the links here to donate to the appeal. In addition to monetary donations, we are also encouraging individuals and organizations to do donation drives. As you could see from the flyer, we have our most requested items for households on there. And finally, I'm going to turn over to Kelly to talk a little bit more about some of the volunteerism and other things that we can do in terms of gift supplies. And yes, third-party support. I guess I will mention that we'll jump around a little bit. So we have been fortunate, in addition to folks donating, individuals and organizations wanting to put on events or have fundraisers. This includes dining out events. Restaurants have contacted us about giving a portion of their sales for the evening or the weekend to us. Bookstores reached out to us. Local artists, musicians have offered to put on concerts. So all these things are extremely beneficial and welcome. Kelly and I, along with other staff, have made an effort to be there to thank people, to talk about the need, to talk about how gifts are making an impact, and have really enjoyed seeing the community come together and put on these incredibly creative ways to support our clients. So I'll turn it over to Kelly now to talk a little bit more about volunteerism and the need for volunteers during this time.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. Let's pretend like we're in Hawaii when the sun is shining. That's why I put this background up, so we can just feel the heat from the computers, right? Well, we have a lot of urgent needs, and we are so grateful to our community volunteers who have stepped up and helped us. And I'm very grateful to especially a volunteer who's helped me with the computer system. So unfortunately, we all heard the news that we've laid off staff. My team of 4 is myself now. So we're going to launch volunteer opportunities through our website. The current urgent needs for volunteers include what's listed on this slide. The first 3, housing setup, transportation of new Americans, and home visits, all require background checks. These are opportunities where you will be working one-on-one with new Americans. So if you're already in our system and you already have a background check, those individuals are available to sign up for these opportunities. If you're new to our system and you sign up, you will be asked to do a background check. We're learning together, as I like to say, because my volunteer coordinator is not on staff right now. And so I am stepping up to do that, but I am also managing lots of other projects. So if I do not answer your emails right away, just know I will get to them. It just probably won't be within the day. It's more like 3 to 5 days. Other volunteer needs that are posted is the food pantry assistance. And then I believe we have administrative help and matching grant. Unfortunately, our matching grant team was 4 and they are now down to 1. So they also need help, especially on Fridays when we are handing out checks. So those are our urgent needs. But then, of course, the next slide is going to show you our ongoing needs, which would also be urgent. Intake and benefit support is helping the team with computer forms and fun forms. Bus training. I say bus training almost every month, and basically this volunteer opportunity, not many people like to do bus training. So I'll say it again. If you want to go on the bus with some new Americans and show them a bus route, this is really easy. It just takes a little bit of somebody who's outgoing and likes to be on public transport. Grocery shopping, we still need help with. That's going to the store and picking out a list of foods that we will give you. And then child supervision support, that's going to be down the line with less staff in the building. we have less people in the building, but we still have children in the building. So we're still negotiating out how we're going to take care of those kiddos. So all you need to know is that the volunteer opportunities are on our website. You go to the Get Involved tab, go down to volunteers, and what you see there is what is open. So if you have any questions, or if somebody hasn't, if I have not responded to you, just please be patient. I am working through a lot of people who want to help us, which is amazing. And I love it. I just feel bad that I can't respond within 24 hours. So we love your support. We already had your support for many years. We've been around for 104 years, and we've had community support the whole time. So we don't think you're going to get away from us yet. The next slide is I believe the community shout outs, which for those people who have been on this call before, this is my favorite part of the call. Let's move on. This is where we get to celebrate the wins. Oh, well, sorry. We still have one more urgent need.
Kelly, I'd like to jump in on housing for a second. We've really are very thankful through community connections. We've been able to access a little bit of a rush of housing here recently. We've been able to move folks into permanent housing at a higher rate. But of course, we could be moving them faster if we had more volunteers to help with our housing setups. But right now we have a little fewer than 100 folks still residing in temporary housing for whom we're still seeking affordable housing. And two cases in specific have folks that make use of assistive chairs. And we're seeking accessible housing for those two families, which would need to be first floor units, of course. And we have several other larger cases where 3 and 4 bedroom units are very helpful. But I want to put a finer point. Of course, we've talked about housing for a while, but for those folks that are new arrived who are still in temporary housing, we have a really urgent need to get them into permanent housing. And again, the choke point for us right now is volunteers who can help us do those setups in apartments. And I've been talking with our resettlement team, Azmira and Abdul, about providing us information on a 48-hour basis about the opportunities for setup. So if you are a volunteer, you volunteered with us in the past, and we have your email, you will be getting updates around those opportunities. And we're, again, trying to provide as much notice as possible. So we know that we have a lot of very busy adults who like volunteering, and we're appreciative of that help. But you'll hear more about those opportunities to help us with setups. But if you do have any other connections with housing, we very much appreciate that.
Okay, so we are going to kick it off to Carlos Suarez to give us 2 important announcements about some upcoming events, and then I will come back. Carlos?
Thanks, Kelly. Great to see everyone this afternoon. We are kicking off our season for the Community Bazaar back here at the International Institute starting this Friday for Valentine's Day out of all days, this February 14th. So again, the purpose of the Community Bazaar is really focused on providing access to essential resources for clients and the immigrant community here in St. Louis, as well as supporting immigrant owned businesses. So we'll have Venezuelan cuisine provided by Angel's Fruits selling lunch. So we really invite you to come out during from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. here at the International Institute in our cafeteria. We have the list of the dates for the rest of the for part of the rest of the year, and check out our website for more details. We'll also have some community partners participating from time to time, especially this Friday, with Commerce Bank enrolling individuals into banking accounts, Affinia Healthcare providing access to healthcare needs, and a number of partners that we're continuing to build collaborations and partnerships with. So if this is also something any organization would like to sponsor, we're continually working for sponsors for 2025 and looking forward to engaging the community. Invite everyone to come to the Institute on especially this Friday, the 14th, as we kick things off, and hope to see you throughout the year. And again, a reminder that with our partnership with AARP and the VITA, or Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, we are hosting free tax filing appointments here on site at the International Institute for immigrants, refugees, low-income households, individuals with disabilities. So this is a free service provided by certified individuals. And for those that would like to schedule an appointment, they can call our line directly, or even book themselves online at iistl.org/taxes. We just started the appointments last week on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, so it's been a very robust start to the year. We did postpone today just because of the threat of weather, but it's a great community resource and open to anyone, and more information can be found online on our website. So thank you, guys. And I hand it back to you, Kelly.
Thanks, Carlos. So I am so excited to keep on talking about this food pantry. As many of you know, we launched this 3 weeks ago, and we are just so grateful to our partnerships and our volunteers. We are really making an impact in people's lives. Food insecurity is here, and we are able to help. So this is really fun and really great way to get involved. We've only opened 3 times, and we've served over 150 families. I'm really proud of that. We are going to be streamlining our efforts. So basically every Wednesday is where we pick up food from Operation Food Search, and we organize the food pantry. We were on the roads this morning, and we got yummy, delicious food delivered we picked it up, and it's in the pantry. So we are going to be opening this Friday. The Friday will be from 12 to 3. It is in collaboration with our bazaar. This is a really great opportunity for new Americans and our neighbors to come to our food pantry if they need assistance, and they will be able to pick out the food, and it's just a really great opportunity for all around. So again, thank you to our partners, Operation Food Search. They were out there working in the snow with us, loading up our truck. It was fun this morning. We have Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who's been a big supporter in the food world, and Little Angels Foundations. So we couldn't do it without our partners, and we definitely couldn't do it without our volunteers. So if you're interested, come by and see me. I'll be downstairs this Friday, 12 to 3. Next slide. Okay, now is my favorite part, our community shout outs. So this is a picture of the beautiful food pantry that we've created downstairs in one of the rooms. We really, with everything happening, we counted on our donation crew of volunteers. We have a crew of volunteers who works in our donation room. They've been doing that for the last 2 to 3 years. They really stepped up and helped me with the food pantry this past week. So I asked them to help me with a day's notice, and they were there. So we are able to keep the food pantry operational, and thank you so much to our community volunteers who came in and organized and cleaned and made it look shiny. Next one. As Carlos mentioned, we're a week into tax preparation. So this is really also a influential service that we would love to keep on providing our community members. Every week we do this 2 days a week, and I believe the gentleman in the blue back there, he's been serving over 20 years. I remember him doing my taxes. Don't remember his name, Carlos, but I know he's amazing.
Keith.
Okay, so it's fun. I mean, we have a really great setup this year. We're doing taxes in the Hall of Nations, and so it's nice and it looks nice. We're not in the gym anymore, so we are upgrading our tax services, and I'm sure people in the community love this service, as do we. So thank you to the AARP and VITA volunteers. They make our work fun. Next slide. This past week or past month, excuse me, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I had the opportunity to work with iThrive, and they are a non-for-profit agency giving free glasses and doing eye exams for children. So this is their bus. They were at Central Library. I had the opportunity to meet lots of different community members and immigrants and refugees. And thank you to iThrive for making us one of your partners. Hopefully we will see more chances in the future to work together to provide eyeglasses and eye exams to young children. So we have a lot to be thankful for. I know that we have troubles times, but there is so much to be thankful for. I do want to I see in the chat, Madeline said they found a wheelchair for one of our new Americans. So that's amazing. That the community at work. Carlton, who I just saw about an hour ago, says iThrive is fabulous. They really do seem to have a great operation there. So they are going to be in the community 2 more times, and I can follow up with the team to let you guys know, but they ran a really great operation doing eye exams. So really wonderful, wonderful work, everybody. We can't do this without you. Many of the staff know that my favorite tagline is teamwork makes the dream work. And I really believe in that. So thank you, team. Thank you, everybody, for helping us. Let's go back out there and serve others. If you need more information, take a look at these contacts. That's about it. I'll take it back to Blake.
Thank you, Kelly. And you all were privileged to hear Kelly's tagline, teamwork makes the dream work. It's been a while since we heard that from Kelly, so we're glad she dusted that off for this performance today. Thank you, Kelly. We do want to, again, thank all of our partners and open up to any questions or comments, anything that's come through the chat, or any sort of thoughts that any of this may have spurred in any of you. Again, I know that there's a lot of question and concern around the availability of federal funding and that sort of stuff, and happy to answer those questions if anybody has any pointed questions. Any non-pointed questions? Well, I can then say just thank you all again for joining on this call and staying connected to our work here. We joke, but yes, absolutely, teamwork makes the dream work, right? That is absolutely accurate. And we couldn't do any of this if it wasn't for the team of partners and community members that have stepped up to, again, fulfill the promise to those that have newly arrived. Yes. Madeline, is it okay to step in and help families in hotels? Absolutely, Madeline. I'd love to coordinate with you on that. We do want to have a coordinated effort because, as we understand it, some folks have been overserved while others underserved. So I want to make sure that we are connecting and really making a concerted effort to ensure everybody gets served. But yes, Madeline, would love to connect with you around that. Stan asked a question about anybody can assist in establishing guardianship for a 19-year-old child with a disability. We can definitely put you in touch for a consultation with our attorney at 19. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that process works, but I know our attorney does and can assist you with that. So Stan, I can put you in touch with Caitlin. And of course, you have ample ways to reach us. And Casey will also be providing the one-pager around our current needs right now with the slides that she shares with you all. So you'll have that as well. But again, thank you for being here. I can give you 7 minutes of your lives back. Thank you for spending this time with us. Very much appreciate it.